name is Cruciger, and I am doing a speech on informal communication. Is it negatively impacting America's ability to read and write? Today I would like to discuss the importance of one's ability to read and write effectively in their own native language. Many of today's Americans have trouble doing this, and it is adversely affecting our children. This is a problem that could avalanche into a bigger problem over time if not addressed. According to USA Today, 1 in 7 Americans would have trouble reading this speech if written. I find this news personally to be disheartening. In today's society, I feel as though we place too much importance on vocal and visual aspects of communication. We are pushing aside the need to communicate via the formal written word. In general, less and less people are reading for pleasure and to their children. Reading books can be a more stimulating form of entertainment because it enhances one's imagination. If you're not visually given a character or setting, you can engage your imagination and construct them all yourself. It can be fun to envision your own interpretations of what you are reading. Some people would prefer to watch a short news clip rather than reading a detailed written report of the same story. Similarly with YouTube instructional videos. However, is it more convenient to watch the video, or is it just plain old laziness? Or maybe, is it a true inability to comprehend the written word? There are people who believe it is the latter, and that it is a rising problem. People have also started favoring text messaging as a primary form of communication, and using abbreviations to express messages to one another, while neglecting formal conveyances. You see it every day, probably in your own friends and family. While we become less literate in one aspect of our lives, we as Americans are becoming more digitally and vocally literate. Now, why is this change in communication a bad thing? Because it is directly affecting the ability of our high school graduates to get into community college or continuing any sort of education. This is an issue that the Huffington Post addresses in an interview with various experts on the subject. Based on that theory, it could be said that the same individual might have trouble in learning any skill that requires formal reading or being able to work effectively in an office setting where formal conveyances are the primary form of communication. There is something to be done about it, however, a way to bring back importance of reading and writing. There is also a time to do it. According to Kelly Hunter, the Executive Director of Children's Literacy Initiative, the 4th grade is when children begin mentally dropping out of school because they can tell whether or not they will be successful. In their earliest years of a child's education, we should be focusing on this, and not that it's too late afterwards, but it is significantly less effective. She also advocates writing for fun, even about simple mundane topics, and then having them read by someone else to go over and correct. She mentions a website available to do just this. ePals.com is an informal writing site where children can go. It encourages many forms of learning, but it also has a section where K through 12s are encouraged to read stories and write and post their own. My suggestion to parents is that maybe they spend a little time every night reading a book to their children or picking up one of their own. My mother did this with my brother and I every night before bed, and I related directly to my voraciousness for reading. I was also encouraged to keep a diary when I started to write. I hope that I have helped you all understand why the informality of our communication is detrimental to the progression of our society, and that you now see the importance in taking a hand in helping your children to understand the need for reading and writing. So tonight, read a story to your children before you tuck them in, give them a diary or a Kindle for Christmas, and encourage them to develop a skill that will help forward the progression of learning in the rest of their lives.